Okay, I never thought this would happen. If this t-shirt looks dirty, it's because I've just been to the recycling centre and got most of the recycling on myself, but who cares? Let's talk about iPads. And I've done it. You can have such a go at me in the comments. I've sent back my M4 13-inch iPad Pro. It's gone back to Apple. It wasn't a review unit, it was a proper purchased unit by me, and I sent it back within the return window. If you're wondering why I've done this, it's not because I'm thinking, oh, the M2 version, which is this one here, is absolutely fine. I don't need that M4 edition. It's also not because I'm about to say, oh, that M4 chip, you can't do anything with it, it's too powerful, yada, yada, yada. Even though I've kind of said that already. The real reason I've sent back that 13-inch M4 iPad Pro is because of this. I've gone with the 11-inch version. I've switched. I've downsized from the 13-inch to the 11-inch. And the reason this is weird is because for a long time, and if you've been watching this channel for a little while now, you'll know this, I've been the guy who's been saying, I don't understand why the 11-inch iPad Pro exists because the iPad Air is just as good. In fact, the iPad Air is better because it's cheaper. And this means I've got some explaining to do. But first, a very quick word from today's sponsor, which is Paperlike. And Paperlike has two jobs. The first one is to protect your display, so your expensive iPad display needs protecting because it's expensive. The second job it has is to turn your iPad display into a surface that feels like paper. And it does that incredibly. It's very, very difficult to get this over on camera, obviously. Trust me, it does feel like paper, it sounds like paper, it's mesmerizing. And if you use your iPad to take notes, to draw, to sketch, to do calligraphy, whatever it is that you do that's creative with the iPad Pro or your iPad Air, they have them for all iPads, by the way. Whatever you're doing with that Apple Pencil and your iPad, you need a Paperlike. And if you're worried about the colours dimming or becoming less vibrant and saturated when you apply a Paperlike screen protector, don't be. Unlike most other screen protectors, it doesn't do that. And I'm the sort of person who never used to put a screen protector on his iPad because I just didn't see the point. And then I got my hands on a Paperlike, and then I realised that's the point. And if you're worried about that application process, don't be. It's so easy. If I can do it, you can definitely do it. I only ever accept sponsors on this channel whose products I genuinely love and use myself, and Paperlike is a great example of an accessory that immediately becomes a must-have for any iPad. So a big thanks again to Paperlike for sponsoring this video, and if you want to find out more, just click that link in the description. Just a quick one. I went for the black version of the Magic Keyboard, and it gets so smudgy so quickly. Don't want to keep sending stuff back, it's not the right thing to do, but should I go for the white version? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's talk about my prior disdain for the 11-inch iPad Pro. Let's open it as well so we've got it in front of us. I did not get this iPad at all. It just did not make sense to me whatsoever. Because compared to that fantastic iPad Air, it just didn't make sense. You got a better display, yes, the camera system was a little bit better, you got Face ID, and that was about it. And also, the M2 version of the 11-inch iPad Pro didn't have the top-end display that the big one had. And that is why I always said, if you wanted an iPad that is this big, just get the Air, because one, you'll save money, and two, it will last you for a long time. The fact that they then put the M1 chip into the iPad Air made it even more of a no-brainer. And for me, that just made the 11-inch iPad Pro a pointless product, to the point where I was thinking, Apple will discontinue it, surely, because it can't sell, can it? However, whenever I mention that in any of my iPad videos, several of you, okay, loads of you, took to the comments and said, no, the 11-inch iPad Pro is fantastic. And then you gave me a whole bunch of reasons why I was completely wrong. I may have argued with a few of you, I didn't delete your comment. I did not delete your comment, I promise. But I definitely vehemently disagreed. I just could not work out why anyone wanted the 11-inch iPad Pro. And that's why whenever I buy a new iPad Pro, it's the big one. I've always had the big iPad Pro. I've never had this size. The M4 version was no different. As soon as that came out, I just thought, in fact, I didn't even think about it. It was just 13-inch. Ordered, bang, delivered, sent back. And the reason it was sent back is because Apple got in touch. I get quite a lot of questions about where all of the Apple stuff that features on this channel comes from. You know, do I buy it? Do Apple send me it? Do people give me it? Do I find it lying around on the streets in bins? No, I buy it. In fact, most of the Apple stuff that you see on this channel has been bought by my business. It does get expensive, yes, but it does also mean that I can get as much stuff in front of you as possible and give you proper buying guidance. Occasionally, Apple gets in touch and says, do you fancy a review unit? A review unit? That's so hard to review. They say, do you want one of these things that we've just launched to review? And my response, without fail, is yes, please. They did that with the M4 iPad Pro. So I'd ordered my 13-inch one, and just after I'd ordered it, they got in touch and said, do you fancy checking out the new M4 iPad Pro? And I said, yeah, okay. And obviously I asked for the 11-inch version because I had the 13-inch version in the post. They both turned up at the same time. I got them both out of the box and immediately fell in love with this size. Although, truth be told, it wasn't the iPad at first. I mean, the iPad Pro, the 11-inch version, it's a lovely thing. It really is. I do like this space black version. It was the combination of this and the Magic Keyboard. As soon as I put the 11-inch iPad Pro on there, everything just clicked. Immediately, I suddenly thought, yes, I'm an idiot. This is brilliant. They're the only brand, I think, on the planet that can do that so well. That kind of immediate and unexpected love you can have for a product just by attaching it to something else and thinking, whoa. And that happened so fast with the 11-inch iPad Pro to the point where just before filming the review of the big one, I was hurriedly looking at the return window and trying to work out if I could send that one back and panicking about it, and then I started thinking, what if the 11-inch is too small? What if this is just a kind of fling, a kind of immediate, love at first sight thing that is just gonna disappear after a couple of weeks? What if I'm doing the wrong thing in getting rid of the 13-inch version? And that is the big question I've been asking myself for the last 2 weeks. Last week I headed to Taiwan for Computex, and normally for that kind of big trip I'd take, where is it? This, which is the 14-inch iPad, no, still jet lagged. It's the 14-inch MacBook Pro, and it's brilliant in terms of travel. I switched from the 16-inch to the 14-inch, and it's made a massive difference. However, it suddenly struck me that for this trip, I wouldn't be doing any heavy lifting. I wouldn't be doing any video work, any audio work. It was just regular email, writing, maybe a few calls with the team. That was it. So why on earth take that? And equally, why take an equally heavy, it feels, is it the same weight? It feels the same way. I'll put the weight down below in terms of the difference between the MacBook Pro and the big iPad Pro. I didn't want to take that either because it's just heavy and, whereas this, So this was the only computer I took to Taipei, and it was absolutely fantastic. One of the biggest strengths of this while I was traveling was the fact that for the keynote stuff, where I was basically sitting there taking notes during a keynote presentation, I could sit there with this on my lap, tap away in Apple Notes, obviously, and then if I wanted to take a photo of the stage, take it off, take the photo, embed that photo into the notes, bosh. You can't do that with that, particularly when your daily driver phone is now an S24 Ultra, because if I take a photo with the S24 Ultra, getting it onto that is a bit of a pain. I also did all my normal kind of writing on it with Ulysses. Did I do a few team calls? I didn't do any team calls, to be fair, but I did appear on BBC Radio Scotland via FaceTime. I did that on this in the hotel room, obviously no problem. All of my email, my admin, that was it really. But and again, I'm not pushing the M4 chip with any of that. And yes, I could use the iPad Air for this, and trust me, if I was a regular consumer, I would use the iPad Air. I wouldn't buy this. But the most interesting thing, and again, you're gonna absolutely hammer me in the comments for this, the thing this makes me think about is, hang on, the iPad mini. I've been saying for ages now that I want a new iPad mini, and one of the biggest things that I want for the iPad mini, that the next version of it, is a Magic Keyboard, a mini Magic Keyboard. How amazing would that be? When I put the 11-inch iPad Pro in here, because I'd come from that great big 13-inch iPad Pro, this felt like an iPad mini. By the way, the new Magic Keyboard isn't very easy to open. This suddenly felt like an iPad mini with a Magic Keyboard. This probably isn't making any sense at all, but I did see a few people in the comments a couple of videos ago saying the same thing, that this is the iPad Mini Pro that we've been talking about. And I'll be honest guys, I'm really starting to wonder if we're going to see an iPad Mini 7. And if that's the case, then, well, this is the form factor for a small, portable and lovely writing admin type iPad thing. Basically, this is what I've been looking for. I just didn't know it. And if I think about it, one of the most common requests I've seen for the next version of the iPad Mini is a Pro version, and that would have a better chip, ProMotion, and it would have Face ID. That has all of that stuff, and it's quite a bit bigger. It's just a bit bigger. Yes, it's expensive, but then so is the iPad Mini. It's one of the most expensive iPads given its size. An iPad Mini Pro, how much would that be? I need to wrap up this video. I need to say something really interesting to finish this video off. Hang on. Before I sent back that 13-inch iPad Pro, I asked you lovely lot, should I keep it or get the 11-inch version? The overwhelming majority of you said, get the 11-inch version. The big question is, will I miss that big screen? Possibly. The only thing I can think where I might miss it is Logic Pro. I'm slowly getting back into Logic Pro on the iPad Pro. I think that bigger display size might be better for music production, but maybe not. And equally, that isn't the main thing that I do on this. That probably accounts for 5 to 10%, if that, of what I do on my iPad Pro. So is it a big sacrifice? Probably not. And once again, should I just have the 11-inch iPad Air? Yes, absolutely. Please do not treat this video as buying guidance. If you're thinking about buying the iPad Pro, the 11-inch version, please take a look at the Air. You could save yourself a huge amount of money. This video is just more me it's a bit of an apology letter to everyone who told me that the 11-inch iPad Pro was fantastic. You were right. I was wrong. It's immediately one of my favourite ever iPads, and yes, we've just had WWDC. I did a live stream following the WWDC keynote, so if you want to check that out, if you missed it, keep watching for a link.